Hello everyone and welcome back to the Dark Domain. Now I know a lot of you these video to sleep. So before you drift off, I thought it would be a fun idea. If everyone could leave a comment. To let me know where you are listening in the world. Also like and subscribe if you are enjoying the episode. Right, let's get comfy and relaxed and let's. First story is not bringing my kids to see my ex-wife during my time with them. My ex-wife, Lisa, 41F, and I, 43M, divorced last summer. We share 2 kids, 10 and 7. My wife currently has primary custody of them and I get them 2 weekends a month with extra time during summer and holidays. I have been working very hard to change our custody agreement in order to get more time with the kids. But the main hurdle is that I live too far away from their school, so I am looking to move closer, but that takes time. This past weekend I had the kids and took them to visit my parents since they live on a lake. We spent Saturday morning on the boat fishing and tubing and having a blast. When we were back at the house getting ready for dinner, Lisa sent me a text asking if we could talk, so I gave her a call. She said that she was having a rough day and was feeling very emotional and alone. She asked if she could talk to the kids for a bit and I agreed. After a few minutes the kids gave me my phone back because Lisa wanted to talk more. She asked if I would be willing to bring the kids back to her for the rest of the weekend because she missed them and just wanted to be around them. I told her no because this is my time with them. I asked her what was going on because she usually doesn't contact me when I have the kids except to arrange drop-offs. She kind of tiptoed around it a bit but eventually said that she had a date that evening but he ghosted her and she's feeling really emotional about it. It took every ounce of self-control I have not to start laughing. She said that she already asked the kids about it and they said they were fine with it. I told her that is some manipulative BS and that I am not going to sacrifice my limited time with the kids just because she got stood up. I reminded her that she has the kids much more often than I do and I am going to keep them every single second that our custody agreement allows. She told me that I was being a jerk and that if the kids want to go back to her then I should let them. I told her that the kids don't get to make that decision and I will be keeping them until our agreed upon drop-off on Monday and ended the call. She sent a few texts later that night and during Sunday basically calling me an AH but I never responded. I figured the texts might come in handy when I try to change the custody agreement. The kids and I spent a lot more time on the lake Sunday and then I brought them back to Lisa on Monday. She made a comment about how much she missed them and how she wished she could have seen them sooner while giving me a weird look. I didn't respond because it's not worth the fight. I understand feeling emotional about being stood up but none of that is my fault and the way she went about it felt very underhanded and manipulative. Second story is refusing to move from a park bench when tourists who don't like dogs wanted to sit down. It's a heatwave here so I walked my Labrador later in the day than usual, and we ended the route at a park bench overlooking the city. She was off lead and I was throwing the ball for her. A small group of tourists came by and called for my attention. They said one of their party was very frightened of dogs. My dog at this point was in thick bushes behind me, while the path to get past was in front of me, so I said, "Oh no, are you happy to walk by now while she's looking for the ball? Don't worry, she'll be a while." They hesitated and pointed to the bench I was perched on. They asked me to move or remove my dog so they could sit on the same bench and look at the view. Now, I don't know bench rules, but I felt like I shouldn't have to leave, as I obviously can't move my dog away without me also moving away. I was also there first, whether that holds any weight in bench etiquette I'm not sure. I was also hot, at the end of a walk, and wanted to chill for MO. So I instead directed them to a genuinely nicer bench around 4 minutes walk away that is situated in the actual viewpoint area of the city, number 1 on TripAdvisor, in fact. They nodded but then didn't leave, and started asking several follow-up questions like, "Did you say 3 minutes away or 5, and where did you say the steps are again, etc." I answered quickly, very aware that my dog had found her ball and was now trotting back towards me. My dog looped around them to get back and when the tourist saw her walking closer, she let out a genuine blood-curdling scream and shouted, "Please, don't. Please stop." The others shielded her like she was under attack. I was so flustered because my dog was only walking past to get to me. I said sorry and they gave me a look and left. Now, I totally appreciate that dog fears exist. I have a phobia myself, so understand how fear is just primal. And I feel terrible that she screamed. But I also don't know how I was supposed to best deal with this. Maybe I should have just immediately gone into the bushes and put her on the lead, maybe I should have given up the bench. And maybe I'm so comfortable knowing what a cinnamon roll my dog is that I have blinders on to how other people might view her. But, I was using the bench first, does that matter at all? Ida. Help. Edit. Due to people rightly asking, the park has no rules or restrictions on dogs, or dogs being off lead. I'm happy with people calling me an asshole if relevant to the story, but would you pleasant American folk please ease up on telling me I'm an asshole for breaking leash laws and for not walking my off-lead dog in a dog park? These terms and rules simply don't exist in my country, England. This thread has, if nothing else, revealed quite a large and interesting gap between our cultures in this area. Third story is telling my husband the night before that I was going to work from home the next day. I work a job that is hybrid but not on a specific schedule. I work from home when I have nothing that needs to be handled on site that day or if I am not feeling well. Between those two reasons, I usually work from home once per week and it's never a set day, and sometimes I don't know I will be working from home until the actual day. If I know I plan to work from home, I let him know I plan to do so the night before. He is still sleeping when I start work, so when I decide to work from home the morning of, I can't tell him until after he wakes up. This morning I woke up and was not feeling well. I was well enough to work, but working from home was much more comfortable to do. The work I needed to do on site could be pushed until tomorrow, so I decided to WFH. Yesterday I talked about what I needed to do this upcoming week because I will be busy and most of it was on site, so I did say yesterday I planned to work on site all week. But alas, my body did not agree with that. He woke up and saw I was working from home. He told me it is disorienting and a little rude to say I'm going into work the next day and then end up working from home. He says it throws off what he had planned for the day. I think I am not the asshole because I try not to make a habit of WFH without notice, but he thinks it's asshole behavior because he has plans and me being home throws everything off. So AITA for randomly working from home without giving my husband any notice? ETA, I should have specified, but he wanted to do chores at home and errands out of the house. He isn't cheating, and if he wanted to goon, that's fine by me. Nothing nefarious is going on here. I get how the other person being home when they weren't expected to can throw you off. I experienced that when he trades a shift last minute or gets home very early without warning. We might be neurodivergent and never got diagnosed, lol. But when he does it, it changes my plans, but I think, good for him. I don't think it's rude or asshole behavior. That's why I posted this. Fourth story is not contributing to the tuition fee. Hello everyone. I am 48 years old. My husband has a daughter from his first marriage. She is 22. She never wanted to have a relationship with me and I have always been careful with her. I never tried to be her mother. I stayed in my lane and kept things respectful. Our relationship was always distant but fine. Coming to the point, she wants to go to grad school. My husband saved a specific amount for this purpose. It was meant for a local university. She suddenly changed her mind. She applied to an expensive school, which my husband claims that he doesn't know, and got in. The tuition there is double what my husband saved. He told her clearly that it is out of his budget. She did not seem to care too much about it and she just expected the money to appear. This stressed my husband a lot, so my husband had been discussing the tuition gap. I have some personal inheritance money that I keep separate. I have saved this to buy a house together. My husband had asked me if I could cover the difference for his daughter. I told him no. I did not feel it was my responsibility as we had agreed to keep this part separate. I could see how he was stressed out about it, so I agreed to think about it. I believe he talked to his sister at one point and told her about our conversation. 2 days later, SIL told the daughter that I was paying for the school. The daughter called me out of nowhere. She was suddenly very warm and thanked me over the phone. I was completely confused. I told her straight out that there was a misunderstanding. I told her I am not paying for it. The call went cold immediately. The conversation felt it went from 0 to 100 suddenly. She said she always knew I did not care about her future. She said I was hoarding money just to be cruel. She went on a rant and mentioned how I am controlling her with the money. A few choice words were said and I called her entitled. I feel completely blindsided. She only showed me warmth when she thought she was getting my money. She has ignored me for years before this. Now my husband is acting quiet. He says he understands my choice, but his silence feels heavy. I can tell he expects me to just cave and pay it to keep the peace. My sister-in-law made a mess and now I look like the villain. I have the funds, but the entitlement makes me sick. I refused to back down during the argument and told her she needs to grow up. What should I do, or if there is a middle ground in this? Fifth story is refusing to cook for my mom after she let a friend reorganize the kitchen while I was out of town. I'm living with my mother after my father died recently. The house has severe hoarding issues, and for the past year I've been trying to make it livable again. I haven't lived in the state for 30 years, visited once a decade due to the hoard. The kitchen became my space because I'm the only one who cooks. When I got back here last year it was horrifying. Sticky grime coating cabinets and counters, fruit flies stuck to the walls, a stove covered in inches of burnt grease, and piles of boxes, cookware, mail, and trash everywhere. I rented a $400 dumpster 4 times, I replaced rotted drawer pulls, cleaned out expired food, dismantled and scrubbed the fridge, organized cabinets, cookware, utensils, everything. The only reason the kitchen became remotely presentable was because of the work I put into it. An old coworker/friend offered to help clean the house. I was not against help, I actually appreciated it. But I repeatedly said I wanted to be there if anyone touched the kitchen because I had systems set up and it would stress me out to have everything moved around. The day before I flew home from a trip, I was happily talking to my mom about cooking healthy meals for us. She's on Wegovy and I wanted to help her eat better. I specifically begged her, please just work on my bedroom and wait until I'm home before touching the kitchen. Instead, the day I was flying home, she invited the friend over anyway and they completely reorganized the kitchen without me there. They pulled things out of cabinets, moved food and cookware, stuffed items into tote bags, and piled things onto the living room floor. Basically they turned the room upside down. When I called from the airport upset, not yelling or crying, my mom acted like I was overreacting and said she just sat there while the friend did it. The friend joked over speakerphone that she knew I was a control freak. What hurts is that my mom absolutely understands this feeling. She gets upset if anyone touches or removes things from her own room, even obvious trash. I always ask before throwing away her belongings. I've already removed over 30 trash bags from her room and 36 trash bags from my dad's room when we had to make space for hospice equipment. I'm not angry they cleaned. I'm angry they did the exact thing I repeatedly begged them not to do in a space I had spent a year trying to reclaim. Now I don't want to cook for her anymore or clean up messes I didn't make. Sixth story is letting a kid who claimed to be locked out into my apartment building. Today as I got home from work, a kid I don't recognize, about 13 to 14 years old, approached me as I walked up to my apartment building. He asked me if I lived in the building and I said maybe. He told me he locked himself out and his mom wasn't home and he was happy I showed up to let him in. I told him I don't let anybody without keys who I don't recognize into the building. He asked me why and I said it's not safe, there's a reason the apartment building is locked. He then proceeded to follow me to the side door of the building, so I grabbed the door and pulled it shut behind me because he grabbed it and tried to tailgate me. He pulled on the door but I was faster and got it to lock behind me. He slammed on the door with one of his fists and screamed, "Fuck you," and it scared me a little. Even though he was young, he was almost as big as me. I'm sure he would have been able to pull the door open from me if he was expecting me to shut it. It's not too cold or hot outside, it's gorgeous weather and there are several hours of sunlight left. There's a park with benches in the shade and mothers watching kids within sight line of the front door of the building, so he will have a safe place to be. Again, he looked like a young teenager, not a little kid. There is a building buzzer in the front, so if he knows anyone in the building they can let him in even if his mom isn't home. I've never seen this kid a day before in my life, but I typically ignore the children who play outside because I find them annoying, so there's a good chance I just don't recognize him. It's a safe neighborhood and most people who live here do unfortunately just hold the doors open for others without asking or seeing keys. I feel guilty for not letting him in case he was locked out and he's just a kid, but at the same time I have a policy to not let strangers in the building for safety reasons, and he kind of scared me. AITA for not letting him in. Also, if I do see him again, if he does live here, what do I do?